Hello friends, welcome back to Liz's Reading Corner, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Liz and I like books, and this video is going to be just a few things rolled into one. I have a library haul. I've set myself a few spooky-ish reading challenges this month. I also have, amazing as it is, bought myself some books, which I don't normally do. And I also have, just really quickly at the end, I'm going to give you guys just a really quick update as to what has been going on and why it's been so long between videos. But let's be honest, you're all here for the books, so books first. I wanted to do a few reading challenges this month. I use Goodreads a lot. I use Goodreads and Storygraph. I use Storygraph to track percentages and like genres and things. I use Goodreads for everything else. And Goodreads has a lot of lists that people can vote on or they can add books to, and I wanted to read through Goodreads' scariest books because it's Halloween, it's October, it's spooky season, and I noticed that I think 5 or 6 of the books on there were actually Stephen King books. So I've decided to go through and read Stephen King's 10 most, or what's considered to be Stephen King's 10 scariest novels according to Goodreads, or according to Goodreads readers, and then also go through and read Goodreads' scariest novels. But I've taken the Stephen King books out of that because I'm doing a Stephen King only video. So I have those that I'm doing this month if I have enough time, because I don't know if I will actually be able to read anything else, because that's 20 books on its own and I'm still going through uni. I am also going to try and do a week of reading through Kindle Unlimited horror, because I have a Kindle Unlimited membership. So those are my plans. I'd also like to do a witch themed video, or like a witchy theme of reading through like witch books. And also the final book of the Bloodsworn saga is coming out this month. So The Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne is coming out around the end of the month sometime. So I absolutely have to get my hands on that and read that. I'm so excited for that book to be coming out. But anyway, with that very long introduction out of the way, let's get to the library haul. So first we'll go through the Stephen King books. I have 8 of the 10 books on this list. I have read Stephen King before. I've read all of these books before. I've read all of these books before, except for Gerald's Game. And I don't actually have Gerald's Game. So hopefully that will come through soon at the library. Otherwise I'll just buy it, I guess. So number 10 is Gerald's Game. Number 9 is Christine. Probably be reading these in like backwards order, so from 10 to 1. Number 8 is Carrie. Number 7 is Cujo, and I don't have that yet, so again, the same as with Gerald's Game. If it doesn't come in soon, then I'll just buy it, I guess. We have The Stand. So I have Misery. I love this book. This is one of my favorite Stephen King books, and I also absolutely love the movie adaptation of this. I think it was very well done. Salem's Lot. This was another one of the first Stephen King books that I read. I actually really enjoyed it a lot. Pet Sematary. This freaks a lot of people out, and I kind of understand why. The movies also, honestly, I think the movies freak people out more than the actual book does, and controversial opinion, don't come for me. I prefer the older adaptation over the new adaptation, but I don't know, at the same time, this didn't really rate on my scariest Stephen King books. But anyway, Pet Sematary. The Shining, again, one of my favorites. I love the movie. A lot of people don't like the movie. I love the movie. I love the concept behind it. And I think this one, a lot of people are creeped out just because it's like creepy children, or there's like children-ish involved. But yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. So The Shining. And number 1, according to Goodreads readers, is It. I have read this several times. This used to be one of my favorites, and I get why people find it creepy. I think people focus too much on the fact that it turns into a clown and don't really pay attention to the fact that it's not actually a clown. It's an alien that can turn into your worst fear, or the thing you fear the most. And so I find it really disappointing that when people think of It, that they just think of the creepy clown. Also, while I absolutely adore Bill Skarsgård's version of it, and I think he did an amazing job, I am a Tim Curry fan, and so Tim Curry will always be the superior it in my books. Again, possibly a controversial opinion, but anyway, it. So those are the 8, assuming it stays. Those are the 8 Stephen King books that I've got. Like I said, I have to get Gerald's Game and Cujo. If they don't come in soon, I'm just probably going to buy them. So the other reading challenge that I have set for myself for October is reading through the Goodreads top 10 scariest books. Like I said, I think 5 or 6 of those books were actually Stephen King books, and so I've just taken them out and just moved up the books that were below them. I don't have all of these books. I only have 3 of the 10 at this point in time, so obviously I'll be doing Stephen King first. And I'll be going through the other 7 books when I actually do the video of it, because I just don't want this video to be extremely long. So the 3 books that I've got off of that are Dracula by Bram Stoker, The Ghost Story by Peter Straub. I have no idea what this is about. I'm going to, or my plan is to go into these completely blind, so I'm not even going to be reading the blurb off of these. And Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Again, no idea what this is about. My plan is to go into this one blind as well. So then I grabbed a couple of Just Because books. So, well, not really just because. So I have The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is the 2nd book in the Bloodsworn saga. Like I said, The Fury of the Gods is coming out at the end of October, so I really want to just read through this one again really quickly, just to refresh my mind as to where the story is. And the other Just Because book, I thought I had one more, so that means I only have 18 books. So the other Just Because book I have is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. I can't remember why I put this on hold. I put this on hold a while ago. I'm assuming that it just stood out to me because the synopsis was interesting. So Just Because. I have The Witches of Vardo by Anya Bergman. So if I do end up doing a witchy vlog, I have at least one physical witch book. The rest I can either get on Kindle, or I can just borrow more from the library. So a witchy related book, just because it's Halloween season. I've been really into translated fiction lately. I find the stories, or at least I've been really lucky, I think, with the translated fiction that I've been reading. It's been mainly Japanese and Korean translated fiction. I've read fiction, like translated fiction from a few other countries as well, but it's mainly Japanese and Korean. But I found the stories to be like really, really cozy, and they're nice, in my opinion. They're nice like palette cleansers to go between genres. So sometimes I find it really difficult to go between like horror and fantasy, or even just between fantasy books. So I will read translated fiction just as a way to just take a step back from the book that I've just finished reading. So I have The Delegate Dream Department Store by, who is this by? Mie Lee. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. My goal, and this is not really something that I've even advertised, my goal for next year is to be able to read Japanese. So I've been learning Japanese, mainly using Duolingo, but I've been learning Japanese this year, and I would like to be able to actually read Japanese fiction in its original form as opposed to being translated, because the problem I found with translated fiction, and I found this specifically with the Dwarves series, is that the story is very much open to the translator's interpretation of what the author is trying to say, and also very much open to the translator's patterns of thinking and speech. And so the way that they translate things is very dependent, I guess, on like which country they come from and whichever way that they've learnt to speak English. And so I'm really curious as to see if there is a difference between how I interpret something, and I realize that it's very different being just a learner who hasn't even got to like N5 stage, versus an interpreter who is obviously at like N1 or native language levels. But yeah, I'm just really curious as to see if I read it differently to the translator, if that makes sense. So yeah, anyway, before the coffee gets cold. The last two books that I have, they will be going into, so I'll be explaining this more in a vlog, which will probably be coming out after Halloween. I am wanting to read the Booker Prize shortlist books. So I have 2 of those books so far. One of them, I don't know how long it's going to take to get because I'm like 24th or something on the holds list. So, or 24th in line on the holds list. So it's going to probably be a little while. But I have 2 of the books on the Booker Prize shortlist. So I have the Stoneyard Devotional by Charlotte Wood and also Held by Anne Michaels. So there's 4 more books that I will be reading through as well, but like I said, I probably won't be getting to these until after Halloween, so that will be a future video. So I went op shopping recently and I was incredibly lucky to find these 2. So I found Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I picked this up either late last year or early this year, and I soft DNF'd it because I just didn't have the time to read it. I just wasn't feeling it at the time, and so I sent it back to the library. Now I can just read it whenever I want. I was really interested in the premise behind the book, but like I said, I just wasn't feeling it at the time. And this is in like very good condition. I don't think it's actually been read, or if it's been read, it's been very well looked after. So this one cost me $3.50 at the op shop or secondhand shop. What do Americans call it? The thrift shop? We call it an op shop in Australia. So $3.50 at the op shop in, like I said, almost perfect condition. And I also got The Will of the Many. So this one I'm certain hasn't been read. It's in perfect, basically, condition, and it cost me all of $3. This is again a book I wanted to try reading earlier in the year and I just never got around to it. I borrowed it from the library, I just didn't get a chance to read it, and then it was due back, and so I just didn't read it, and so now I have it and now I can read it whenever I want. The next 3 are books that I wanted to read but my library just doesn't have them, so I just bought them. So I got A Dark Inheritance by H.F. Asquith. Yes, I have already read this. I basically inhaled this book. I read it so fast. I loved it. I love the front cover. I love it when books that are not romantasy have pretty covers. It makes me so happy. But yeah, I read this in a day, and so I'll be doing a video on this one shortly, but this was well worth it. I think I'm probably going to be reading this again, if not next year, the year after. I got The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. Again, this one was not available at the library, but I had heard some really good things about it, and so I just really wanted to buy it. And as you can see, I'm in the middle of reading this one. I bought Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. Yeah, so Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. This I only started reading yesterday, and again, I can't put it down. I'm actually really interested in this one, and I love that it is formatted like a IKEA catalog. That's actually really cool. So those 3 books, the only reason I got them in a physical copy instead of a Kindle book is because it was like $1 difference between buying a physical copy and a Kindle book. And Horror Store, I'd been told to read Horror Store as a physical copy because it really adds to the reading, like the feel of the book. And I agree. I think if you're going to read Horror Store, it is well worth reading as a physical copy instead of an ebook. So those are my book hauls. That's all of the books that I've got recently that are new. So on to, I guess, the life update. I haven't put out a video in, I think, a month, and the last month has been absolutely crazy. So I am a uni student. I am in my 3rd last trimester, so I'm at the end of my 2nd year of uni. I'm studying a psychology degree, and I've said this so many times, but I just don't know how else to convey it. Uni is absolutely kicking my butt. This trimester's been a little bit less, now that I'm over a big chunk of the assessments that I've had to do, it's a little bit less hectic, but the last trimester I did, I just felt like I had no time. I barely had any time to read. I think I read less than 10 books each month from like July all the way through to September. So July, August, and September, I barely read anything, if I'm honest. And we had just like life things going on. We had some family things, so like personal things were going on, and life just got away from me. I did try to record some videos in that time, but nothing felt good enough. And as much as I try to not put that pressure on myself, I was putting that pressure on myself. And so I just felt like nothing that I recorded was enough or good enough. So this month, like I said, I'm trying to do the 2 reading challenges. I also would like to try and do, so one of the YouTubers that I watch, what's his name? The Honest Book Reviewer. He does book reviews, and I really like the approach he takes to doing book reviews. So when I started this channel, my whole thing was to be doing book reviews, and I feel like I haven't really done that. I've just been like, hey look, I got this book, and hey look, I got these books, and hey, I really liked this book, but there's never been any like in-depth spoilerish book reviews, and except for the few that I've absolutely hated and I ended up ranting about, and I just don't want to do that either. So I would like to try and do book reviews for each or most of the books that I read, and do in-depth book reviews, because I think that is something that YouTube is really lacking. Like, people do reading vlogs and people do like book hauls, and there's a lot of consumerism within like the Booktube community, which is just not something I'm interested in, if I'm honest. And I just feel like there's not very many actual book reviews. Like, a lot of videos that I have seen anyway are just like, I'm doing book reviews, but it's just like more of a vlog and hey, I liked this book. So all of that being said, I just want to try and do more in-depth book reviews. And I also, if I can't do a book review, or in conjunction with the book review, I will probably be putting out like just short reels that are just like a 10 or so second snippet of like a flip through of the book, and like the main points of the book, trigger warnings, and then a little blurb as to what it is that I liked or didn't like about the book, and my star rating for the book. So I have some pretty big ambitions, I guess, for this month. I haven't really been reading through like the other challenges that I had set myself at the start of the year. I just kind of, I think, put too much pressure on myself, and so unfortunately, as a mood reader, that means that I'm just not interested in doing them now. And with the exception of the Goodreads most difficult novels, because I am actually still really interested in that one. So I will still be doing the Goodreads most difficult novels, but a lot of the book series that I started out that I wanted to finish, I just at this point in time won't be finishing them, because I've tried to read a few of the different series and I've just lost interest in them, if I'm being completely honest. So yeah, those are my, I guess, life updates, my goals. I want to try and upload, and this is going to be my accountability thing, so this video is going to make me accountable. I want to upload at least 1 video and 1 reel per week. How many books I get read obviously depends on my uni work. I have an assignment due at the end of this week, and then I've only got 1 more assignment due this month, thankfully. And then I've only got, I think, 2 assignments overall for this trimester. So this has been like a really chill, really chill trimester, which is good because it means I get to read again. And I really missed reading. Reading is like my de-stressor. So yeah, all of that to say, I'm going to try and put out more videos. I am at the very least going to be putting out 1 video and 1 reel each week. So yeah, that is what has been going on lately. So yeah, and with all of that being said, it's the end of the video. Have you read any of these books? If you have, I would love to hear your thoughts on them. Are any of them on your TBRs for spooky season, or what are you planning to read for the spooky season? Do you have any Halloween plans? We don't really celebrate Halloween in Australia, so I don't know if we're going to be doing trick-or-treating. Little Man's School might be doing a Halloween disco. But yeah, Halloween's not really celebrated. We're only just kind of starting to celebrate Halloween a lot, at least in Queensland or in North Brisbane. We live in North Brisbane. So there's not really a whole lot of like trick-or-treating and kids walking around the streets or anything, so we'll see. That might be different this year. I hope it's different. Halloween's kind of fun. Anyway, do you have any plans for Halloween? If you have any books that you think I would be interested in reading, as always, please let me know in the comments down below. If you like what I do here, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!